and girls, ladies and gentlemen, your streamer is now hydrated with these two cool-ass waters. Not sponsored, by the way. Man, does my throat hurt so much. Oh my god. All right, did anything happen when I left? Doesn't look like it. Okay, so what we're gonna be doing next, by the way, is now we're going to be going onto YouTube because we've got some new information, not new to me, but new information for a lot of people about the Mortal Kombat movie that's going to be coming out in 2021. Now, I've already made it abundantly clear that I am not looking forward to this movie at all. It does not sound good, and the new information that we got does not change my view on that. And it's definitely like, I'm not looking forward to it. I'll get more into why I don't like it, because you guys are going to find out some of the information that's going to be coming from this podcast that we're going to be watching, which is from the Realm Kast, who they interviewed the guy who leaked the script of the movie. And by the way, I am going to be on the Realm Kast sometime in the future. I don't know when. We're still working out the details and what we're going to be talking about, and we haven't even got to the date of when I'm going to be on as a guest. So this is from the Realm Kast. Shout out to them for this interview. It's awesome. It was a good interview, good podcast. So yeah, big shout outs to them. Let's get started. So here we are. We're going to sit down, listen to this stuff, listen to the new information that we got. And I'm going to be giving you my thoughts about the movie. Again, I've already made it clear that I am not really looking forward to this movie. I've even said that I probably won't even watch the movie. I probably won't go and see it because I just don't want to support something that I don't think is going to be really beneficial to Mortal Kombat. And there are reasons why. We'll get into why I think that way in this podcast, because the podcast reveals some of the things that I've said, that I've repeated, and the thing shows why I don't like it. Alrighty, guys, let us begin.
I don't know anything about the original screen and those two snapshots, and the fact that none of what they leaked was in this. But it sounds like the basic storyline was the same, because I remember the original leaks a few years back was about an original character that gets chosen for Mortal Kombat. And then after Kevin Tantrin dropped out, it just kind of lingered for a few years. I don't know if James Wan actually was planning the direct. He did clarify a couple years ago that his name constantly gets attached to projects. He just finally put the nail in the coffin last year regarding the Resident Evil movie, because reporters kept contacting him and asking him questions about it, and he said, look, it was offered to me to be a producer, but I'm not a producer on it. I don't have the time. And that's just how Hollywood goes. There's a lot of stuff that you see in articles, unless it's see,
I think what he's saying right here is that he doesn't think that James Wan is actually attached to the movie. I think he's trying to address saying that he thought that James Wan would be the director of the movie. James Wan was never going to be the director. So whoever was saying that James Wan was going to be the director of this movie is just spreading misinformation. I know that because I've been following this movie for since 2013, since when Kevin Tanker Rowan was attached and he was going to be the director. So yeah, it's misinformation that James Wan was going to be the director. He was not. I thought he would be, but he's not going to be. But he is the producer, because he has talked about, now he was saying that James Wan was saying, I don't know anything about that because my name is attached to so many things. But James Wan is still a producer on this, but from the attitude of what he's saying, it looks like James Wan isn't really involved with this. He's an executive producer, and executive producers don't really do much. If you know anything about the movie industry, guys, executive producers don't do diddly squat. They really don't do anything. Now, James Wan has spoke about the Mortal Kombat movie. He said that he is involved, and he said, we want to make it right. We want to take our time with the movie. That's why it's taking so long and all of that. But that was years ago. That was in 2014, 2015, 2016 or something like that. But yeah, just because James Wan is attached to this, guys, does not mean anything really, because James Wan was attached to Aquaman. He was the full-ass director, and I did not like Aquaman. Other people may think differently. I didn't. I didn't like it. So just because James Wan is on it doesn't really mean anything.
I don't even know.
So after all that happened, how did it kind of fall into Greg Russo's hands?
You know, I'm still trying to figure that out. I have nothing against Greg Russo. I really like his writing style, but it amazes me. You know, he doesn't have a single writing credit to his name. Did you know that?
I didn't realize that.
He has 3.
That's what makes me concerned about this movie. One of my biggest concerns, and honestly, I don't have any hope at this point, but still, when I found out that the person who's writing this movie has no writing credits whatsoever, 0 writing credits, and the director has 0 films on his resume. To me, I think that alone should make people worried. I know so many people have been saying, just wait until the movie comes out. Just wait until the movie comes out. Why are you being concerned? Why are you judging the movie on its... Dude, why should I not be... Forget what I think about, like, what they're doing to the characters, what I think they're doing to the story. Forget about that. Just on that alone, just on the 2 most important things about the movie, the director and the writer, the 2 most important contributors, them not having any credits to their name, how the fuck are we supposed to know if this is going to be a good movie or not? Now, again, they may be good people, they may be good directors, we don't know, of course not, but why wouldn't you be skeptical just on that alone?
So you're going to see characters from the games. You're going to see a lot of the story points from the games. You're going to see fatalities. They even have the arenas from the games, and they work it in naturally.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's a problem that I had with Legacy 2.
See, okay, one of the good things I will say about this movie, or things that I'm actually like kind of looking forward to, credit that I will give, like what I think actually will be good, is that I think the stages that he says there's going to be stages, like they fixed it. Apparently in the 2016 script, and he'll talk about that, the locations. I don't think a single stage was in the location. I think a single stage was one of the locations in MK in the 2016 script, or 2018 or 2016 script. I think it was the 2016 one. But apparently there's going to be a lot more stages, or like the stages from the games are going to be in this movie. I will say that I think that I think we could expect that the stages in this movie are going to look good. I think that's what it's going to look good. Also, I think the character costumes are going to look awesome. Like the way that characters look may look pretty cool. I think they will look cool. I think it's going to be a way for people to get them just to get in, people to get into the movie theaters, just by their costumes alone, just because it just looks so recognizable. So the costumes may look cool, and the stages may look cool. Also, I've already praised the cast. I think the cast is awesome. I think the cast is 100% awesome. It's a lot of people who are not really big stars, and that's okay, because all these people are forever going to be stars. They're going to be at conventions. They're now going to be known as these characters now, and that's really cool.
Because one of the biggest problems that I have, and one of the biggest concerns, is the meshing of martial arts, CG, and extreme blood and gore. Because Legacy 2 had all that, and none of it worked. It just fell off. You know, it's like they would be fighting, and they literally just stop fighting, and then someone does a fatality. And I'm thinking, how the hell are you gonna work this in naturally? I know the first movie they tried to, and I thought the first movie did really well, but there's a lot of people pissed off that it doesn't have fatalities. But this movie, and this movie does. It has recognizable fatalities from the games, and some of this is gruesome, very, very gruesome. And the whole time I'm reading it, I'm smiling.
That another one of the good things is that everybody's talking about how the fatalities are really, really good in this movie. And it's going to be very gory. The thing is that I don't care about fatalities. Yes, fatalities are an essential thing about Mortal Kombat, but I don't care about how many fatalities you show. It doesn't have to be a whole bloodbath. Because again, the first Mortal Kombat story we ever got, the first Mortal Kombat story that ever existed in the franchise, only one person died, and that death could have been a PG-13 death. It could have been a PG-13 death. So... And it concerns me because in the movie, or in the marketing of the movie, like when cast members are being interviewed about this movie and they're being asked, all they're really talking about is how gory the fatalities are and how cool the fatalities look and such. I don't care. Tell me about the story. When I watch a movie, I care about the story and the characters. That's what I care about. I don't care about the fucking fatalities. That comes second or third. What I care about is how good the story is and how well the characters are written. But all they keep talking about so far is how the fatalities are good and gruesome. Now, I'm not saying that they won't. It's just that to me, I don't care. Now, I get why they're doing that, because I know a lot of dumb brain Mortal Kombat YouTubers, dumb Mortal Kombat fans are going to be like, I'm not going to watch this movie if there's no fatalities, because the first movie didn't have any fatalities, and that was so lame. Fuck off. Fuck off. And so that's what that's why I think they're doing that. They did that with Scorpion's Revenge too. They were like, dude, this movie has fatalities. This movie has bad language. Remember that shit in the trailer? Like, bad language. And that was so cringy. But again, it was to appeal to those dumb brain little MK fans who are like, I'm not watching this movie because it has no MK. It has no fatalities like the first movie. The first movie was lame because it had no fatalities. Fucking dumbasses. Shut the fuck up. Story? Do you not realize that when it comes to a movie, story and characters matter more?
So I definitely get where you're coming from with regards to bringing in the arenas and bringing in the fatalities and stuff. That's all great. That's all Mortal Kombat, right? But then I think one of the most important things as well is actually getting those characters right and getting those, well, the consistencies.
Thank you.
Right? Now, yes, we want a Mortal Kombat movie, and I think that that's the biggest issue that people have had with say, like, Legacy and everything. Is more that it needs to feel like Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's more than just fatalities, right? We all love the fatalities.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree with
this
you.
guy
We
is
love the
awesome.
Characters, we love the story behind it. We love how the characters work with each other as well, and how they tie into the story itself. So how a minor character or somebody seemingly minor can be so integral to the plot, the entire plot of the series itself. And I think that that's something that many fans are kind of concerned about.
Well, the problem is you have 25 years worth of lore that you're condensing into an hour and a half movie, and that was kind of the issue with the first one. At least they focused on the first game, but here you have so many different fan favorites that have evolved over the last 25 years, and so much fan service that kind of gets put into it too. So compressing all that into one movie, I can see the challenge there.
But then why not build upon it over time rather than going all in one go?
Yeah,
and that's one of the issues that Mortal Kombat Annihilation had, was just cramming. I think
without a
there's
doubt, Ron,
22 to 25 characters in that movie, and you can see just how it didn't work. Whereas this movie has maybe 15 at most, maybe less.
That's including original characters? Oh, actually, we should save that for the spoiler section.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is probably a good time to jump into spoilers, but just so our listeners know, of course, this is based off the 20...
By the way, I know people are going to be like, okay, I don't want to know spoilers. Don't worry, guys. It's mainly just character details and what characters are going to be in the movie and what you can expect from what you can expect from these characters and what you can expect from the story. It's not really. I've listened to this, so it's okay. Like, I know they say spoilers, but they're just going into things that are just a little bit more revealing. But don't worry, guys. Don't worry it's not going to be too much, because the script leaker, he says that he doesn't want to reveal too much because of spoilers. So let's don't worry about it.
So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the 2018 Mortal Kombat script. So Brandon, can you tell us just kind of a synopsis of the 2018 script and a little bit about the story?
Yeah.
Here we go, boys.
Essentially, I mean, it deals with Mortal Kombat. It mostly follows the single point of view of one character and how they're drawn into this centuries-old battle to save the Earth from Outworld. And it's done once a generation, and they have a unique gimmick on how the characters are chosen. And I think part of the reason for this was because they wanted to get away from cliches like, you were the chosen one. But the first act is essentially the main character, Cole Turner. You get to see his life. You get to see his character arc, like the beginning of the kinds of themes that they're going to cover in the movie, and how he gets drawn into this. And then he goes through a training phase, and then it finally goes into Mortal Kombat.
So does he get chosen before we see his training phase, or is it kind of like, he's been training all this time and you're seeing his life, and then he's chosen to become a participant of Mortal Kombat?
Well, the main character, I'll call him Cole Turner just because there's no other name for it and everyone understands it, but I don't think that's going to be his actual name. But Cole Turner,
I think I heard that before, by the way. The Cole Turner, that might not be his name in the movie. Like, they may change it up, like Cole something or something like that. But we know him as Cole fucking Turner. We know him as fucking Cole Turner. All
Depending
right?
on which version you read, he's kind of like a washed-up boxer. He is divorced. He doesn't have custody of his daughter, but he's still trying to make a living boxing. It almost felt like the original Rocky. Like, it takes place in Philly, or at least in this version, it takes place in Philly. And he's just in this dark...
Why are we going to Philadelphia in Mortal Kombat? Now, I know, like, the United States or real world places are in here, but what the fuck? Who wants to go to Philly when Mortal Kombat? Who the fuck wants to do that?
I'm going hard on Cole Turner, sorry, by the way, but
No, I've actually listened to your podcast before, and I know that just the idea of it is just it can be insulting, you know, because you think about Liu Kang being the main character, or Johnny Cage, or Casey Cage, because of how they've been doing the new games. It feels like each game has its own main character. But with Cole Turner, what it does is you can do it the way that the 1995 movie did it, where you have multiple characters with multiple point of views, but you only do a little bit of their story arc and it can feel rushed. Or you can focus on one character and do his entire arc so that you get that full emotional spread. And
so why not just do that with one of the established characters that we've already agreed all have this full-on backstory and are all unique in their own way, you know? So for example, instead of Cole, why not have someone like Johnny who literally gets sucked
Did this man just say Casey? I know he did say Casey.
to this whole tournament without knowing initially what it is, right? He would have been the perfect sort of main character to take this sort of thing if that's
I know,
the
right?
approach they were going.
Cole Turner is literally Johnny Cage. Cole Turner is literally Johnny Cage. In addition, like, you could have, like, Johnny Cage, literally, you could have made a new story with him where he's a washed up, I don't know, you could, instead of a washed up boxer, a washed up actor. And he's still trying to make a living as a washed up actor. And he lost custody of his daughter. And as a little Easter egg to Cassie Cage, you could have perfectly done that. As a little Easter egg to Cassie Cage. May have not actually been Cassie Cage, but definitely an Easter egg or something like that. And then his ex-wife could have been like, yeah, and then he's divorced with an ex-wife. And then he gets sucked into this Mortal Kombat. That's literally Johnny Cage's story. What the fuck?
And I absolutely agree with you on that. That was something that I talked to people before about, where it said you could easily rewrite the first act and this could be a Johnny Cage movie. The reason why they want an original character, I don't know. But I know that usually when they...
Yeah, I still don't know either. I think the only possible thing that I can come up with as to why they don't want Johnny Cage as the main character, if they wanted to do this, if they really wanted to do this fish out of water story, and they didn't have Johnny Cage, which is literally the fish out of water fucking character in the goddamn franchise, the only reason why I think they didn't do that is because we already had a game where the Cages were the main characters. But they're different things, man. They're different ways as to how you can do it. This isn't a special oh, actually, maybe it is. Well, not really, because we'll get into that a little bit in the future, or down in this podcast. But this isn't going to be a special. From the looks of it, it's not going to be a Special Forces movie. It's going to be somebody who's sucked into the Mortal Kombat world. So, okay, then just do Johnny Cage. What the fuck is wrong? I just...
They do something like this, an original character is used to slowly introduce the audience into that heavy mythology. And
okay, so that's the purpose. Again, that's the purpose of the fucking character, is to have this person get sucked into the world of Mortal Kombat, so it's easier for us or for casual audiences for them to get sucked into the world of Mortal Kombat. Do that with Johnny Cage. It's not like Johnny Cage is this fucking monster-ass fucking outworld character. He's literally just like you and I. Now, he has powers, of course, but you know why he uses powers? So he, in a way, to believe in himself. It's chi power. So that's still a relatable character trait. You can still put that on film. But god damn it, we have to have Colt Turner and not have... By the way, Johnny Cage is not in this movie. Johnny Cage is not in this movie at all.
People who aren't familiar with Mortal Kombat, they kind of give them a new point of view and give fans something a little bit different. And I'm just playing devil's advocate here, so...
No. Well, you know, I'm actually really happy that Louis Tan...
Well, bro, if you're going to play devil's advocate, go ahead and go and talk to the devil himself, because you're fucking annoying. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke. Don't worry. I'm gonna be on the Realm Kast with these guys. So I'm gonna be talking with these guys. So I have respect with them. I have respect for them. It's okay. I was just joking.
Casted.
Amazing to me. It's just the characters that were missing that we're kind of upset about. Which, of course, you're never gonna make anybody completely happy.
No, but I do feel there's a happy balance. Sorry, I'm going full on hard. Sorry.
No. You know, that's actually really good, because that allows me to explain maybe more more from like the Hollywood side of why they make creative choices that they do, and especially when you read the script, it kind of all clicks together, and you're like, okay,
yeah, no, it's definitely a good perspective for us to have. Thank you for that.
yeah, and I'm sure if you were to read it, you're gonna be like, I understand this, I hate it,
Yeah.
I understand it.
So you were saying earlier that Cole Turner is, this down on his luck boxer, and that he doesn't have custody of his daughter. We do know that Matilda Kimbler, a 12-year-old actress, has been cast for the movie. Can you confirm if she's going to be playing Cole's daughter or a different character?
Yeah, I would say that she's going to be playing the daughter. There's no other child characters in the screenplay. And the one thing to mention, one other thing just to mention about Cole Turner, you notice like the studio hasn't confirmed anything. They haven't. No one even knows who Lewis Tan is playing.
Exactly. That's what I've been telling you guys. Have you guys noticed that when we actually got official news that wasn't, oh my god, we're gonna have fatalities in this movie? When they announced the cast and announced the characters who are gonna be in the movie, they were like, Raiden, Liu Kang, Shang Tsung, Nitara. And by the way, Nitara is gonna be in this movie as like a little cameo thing. Melina, Jack, Sonya, Kano. You know these characters, right? And we're going to have Lewis Tan in this movie, but we're not going to tell you who it is. We're going to hold on to it. They have not said who Cole Turner is going to be. They have not said who Lewis Tan is going to be, or Lewis Tan is going to be playing. We know he's going to be playing Cole Turner. Everybody knows he's going to be playing Cole Turner. The studio is not saying who it is. And he's going to talk about it. He's going to say he thinks that they're scared or they're worried about it. They should be.
But the only logical character that he's playing is Cole Turner, based on the screenplay. And you can really tell that the studio is very, very nervous. And you look at over the last few years how fans have kind of been given a really bad name, depending on which fandom you're part of. And I feel really bad for. I feel like Lewis Tan is probably going to get a lot of hate, and this isn't his fault.
Oh yeah, guys, we shouldn't be. Yeah, there are certain not me. I said me, but not me. No. I do believe that Lewis Tan, I do think people are gonna give this guy a lot of hate. It's not his fault. I'm not gonna give Lewis Tan any hate. Like, I may not like, I don't like the Cole Turner character, but I don't hate fucking Lewis Tan. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna hate on him. So I don't want anybody to get that mixed up with what I'm saying. I'm not gonna go out and attack the cast. I'm not gonna attack the cast member. It's not their fault. I have nothing to do with it. And I think I made that clear. Like, I've even made that clear. I've been saying that I think the cast is good. I really do like the cast of the MK movie. But yeah, dude, please guys, do not. Like, I'm sure everyone in my chat right now, or everyone who's watching the stream, knows not to fucking attack the actors for playing for the characters that they're playing. They have no fucking control.
He's an actor. He was hired to do this role. He didn't make this movie. He is just acting. But I feel like he's going to be at the center of this. Greg Russo, he was hired. He was probably told by the studio to make a certain type of movie. I mean, Greg Russo isn't even the original writer on this thing. There was 5 other writers. So I can understand the studio being very nervous about leaking too early that there's an original character, because they're really terrified of the backlash of this. And honestly, I don't really think they should be, but I understand why, because everything leaked 2 years ago about it.
In the words of Scar from The Lion King, be prepared.
And they didn't say
that was
anything.
stupid.
And you think about that.
Cringe. I want cringe coins being in the chat right now.
6 months. Invite this entire battle sort of like comes to him in a sense, and I'm being very coy about this because I don't want to give away a lot of surprises, but the way that Mortal Kombat works in this is different than how it would work in the games. In the games, we know that the tournaments, they usually send out like an invitation or a messenger, and people get formally invited to fight in this tournament. I think it still kind of works that way, but there's a lot of rule breaking in this, which is one of the reasons why it's going to feel different. But he doesn't want to be part of this, but he also has no choice, as it's explained by Raiden. Raiden, throughout the movie, is able to convince him that, you need to be a part of this. So it's one of the things where I really connect with the Cole Turner character, because you can understand that he wants to do right by his daughter, and this event has kind of...
I really connect to the Cole Turner character.
held him into a life that he really doesn't want, but he has to because he wants to protect his daughter.
Yeah.
But yeah, after that, there's a little bit of
Yes, Retro.
If I were to compare this to a movie, not in terms of quality, but a general concept of structure, like story structure, I would compare this movie to Jean-Claude Van Damme's The Quest.
Yeah.
You've ever seen that? So there's a journey element to it. So you have Act 1, and then Act 2 is a journey element, and then Act 3 is going to be what everyone has come to see. And they cram everything they possibly can into that Act 3. And it doesn't sound like it would work. It really doesn't, because you think about the first Mortal Kombat movie, but really the tournament in the first movie was maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If you think about it. I mean, they rushed through, what, five, 6 fights, and they're only about 2-3 minutes long, and then they get right in the Goro, and then they have...
I will say that the tournament structure isn't properly explained in the first MK movie, yes. But in the novel, the way the tournament structure worked is that there would be fights in different places, and then Shang Tsung would have his shadow priests and carry around scrolls and document what happens, because Shang Tsung can't be around with every fight that's going on in the tournament. You could have done that. You could have done that. You could have done that.
You have all the announced characters, which I can run down through just so we're all on the same page here. But you have Cole Turner, you have Sonya Blade, you have Kano. Those are actually your main characters. You have...
See, I don't not like Sonya and Kano. But really? We're gonna, like, our first MK movie, our main characters are Cole Turner, Sonya, and Kano. Two of the least popular characters from MK1. Now, they've gotten elevated, yes, but two of the least popular characters from MK1, and then a fucking no-name original OC motherfucker. Dude.
You have Liu Kang and Kung Lao, which are supporting roles, but I want to say that by the end of it, they've kind of moved up into main character tier.
That's
just
good.
that
That's good.
they're not in
like
the first act of the movie. After that, you have Raiden, you have Sub-Zero, Jax, Shang Tsung, Scorpion, Melina. Natara was actually confirmed. Then you have Cole Turner's daughter, you have Cole Turner's ex-wife, and there is 4 other characters from the game. I will only confirm one of them because I know you recently did a podcast where you talked about Nathan Jones and who he was playing.
Nathan Jones is going to be
a big thing
Reiko.
for Jens, and you seem like Jens for 99.9.
Reiko will be in this movie. Nathan Jones is going to be playing Reiko. If you guys don't know who Nathan Jones is, I think he was a WWE star.
When I seen Nathan Jones, and I seen everyone saying about, oh, that's Shao Kahn, he has a mallet, I'm thinking, oh, come on, guys, you're all Mortal Kombat fans. You should know that there's 3 different characters that have had mallets in
Reiko,
Khan, and...
Well, Raiden did have one in MK4.
Well,
yeah,
so
he's going to be
it's
Reiko.
obviously not Raiden. And
Reiko.
I will tell you this, that Shao Kahn in the script is more like Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars A New Hope.
That's good. I actually do like how Shao Kahn, I actually do like that. That's good. Them like treating like Shao Kahn like Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars, like with A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back and stuff. I like that. I think that's good. Because that's I don't want you to show Shao Kahn in the first movie unless it's for like an end credit scene or something like that. But them treating like Shao Kahn as a Emperor Palpatine kind of character, I like that.
You see him, at least in the drafts that I've written, but his presence is felt and he is mentioned.
I like it.
So that narrows it down to only one person.
Wow, that's interesting.
Wait, it's Katana. All right.
I would not expect Nathan Jones to play Reiko. Just because he's so massive, and Reiko's not.
Reiko's not, yeah. Like, he doesn't look like a Reiko at all to me.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be going more towards the Mortal Kombat Armageddon version of it. Yeah. And I thought Reiko looked pretty bulked up in that one.
What I don't understand is, okay, if Nathan Jones is not going to be playing Shao Kahn, which I wasn't excited for that anyways, but Nathan Jones is a huge ass fucking dude. He is huge. Let me show a picture of it for you guys. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Fuck. Nathan Jones, there he is. This is him. This is, I mean, I know it looks stupid, but hey, if you put a costume on this dude, he's going to look like Reiko. This is going to be our Reiko. So I'm just like, dude, okay, so then who are we going to get for Shao Kahn? This guy, I think he's like almost 7 foot, and he's fucking huge in terms of like his muscles. He's fucking huge. So I'm just like, okay, then who are you gonna get for fucking Shao Kahn, dude? There's not that many like buffed out huge people in Hollywood. The only one that I can think of is the fucking Rock, and you can have the fucking Rock as Shao Kahn. Like what the fuck? So I mean, like this is bigger than I know. Like Reiko was buff in Armageddon, but this is like Reiko's gonna be a hell of a lot more buff in this movie than he's ever been in the games. He's playing that person is playing Reiko.
I was an MK4 Reiko fan myself.
Yeah, it always looked like Ed Boon wearing face paint, wearing a ninja costume. You know,
that's a good point, Darth Webhead. The movie is set to come out in 4. Now we'll get into that in a little bit later on in the stream. But yeah, this movie is going to be coming out in 4 months. By the way, January 2021. And by the way, if you guys know anything about movies, you guys, I'm not. It's not an exaggeration. Literally, I'm not just saying that because I want to talk bad as many things. I want to talk as many bad things about this movie as I can. But if you know anything about movies, you guys know that the movies that are released in January are where movies go to fucking die. Literally. January movies are where movies go to fucking die. This movie is coming out in January. I seriously have no confidence in this goddamn movie. Oh, apparently the producer said the trailer is supposed to come out in the fall. So we should be expecting a trailer really soon. Like October, November, December, around that time for sure. Like October and November for sure. October and November. But we should have been getting a trailer by now. If we get a trailer in October, they're going to be advertising a trailer that comes out for a movie that comes out in like 3 months. So November, December, January. If we get one in November where it really actually is fall time, coming out a trailer for a movie that comes out in 2 months, it literally sounds like a fucking direct-to-DVD or direct-to-fucking VOD, direct-to-VOD movie. What the fuck? So I don't even think the studio has confidence in this movie. And yes, pointing out, we know nothing about this movie other than we're going to have fatalities, guys. The fatalities. Oh my God, I was so fucking sick to my goddamn stomach. The fatalities, bro.
And again, you're going to see a lot of maybe not mainstream characters as some of the villains in it, but this script has a lot in common with the 1995 movie, where you're going to see characters that don't speak. They do all their cool stuff and then get killed off. Because
why the fuck would anyone want to see that? Why the fuck would any MK fan want to have their favorite character just come in, boom, 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 boom?
Hey, they're trying to have you connect more with the Earthrealm characters.
Previously, there was
I mean that's good, but still, you gotta treat just because other Mortal Kombat characters are not Earthrealm characters doesn't mean that we don't want to see them portrayed really, really well with their stories and shit. I understand that you can't have like too many stories crammed in, but you don't have to fucking kill them off. You don't have to. Okay, so if you guys didn't like that the reptile dying and Baraka dying in Mortal Kombat Legends, prepare for that to happen a lot more with a lot more characters, probably with some 3D era ones too.
2016
and some fan favorites.
Script and the 2018 script. Were there many differences between the two?
Yes.
Really? Can you go into some of the things that were cut, perhaps?
Yes. I can actually tell you that just about every single scene was rewritten for this, and they had one fight scene that was cut, and I think that had to do with a combination of budget as well as pacing. It didn't feel right because there's a fight in the screenplay, and then there was like 2 really quick scenes that kind of propel you in Act 2, and then it's immediately another fight, and it just felt weird. Like it didn't feel like it was flowing good, so I think they cut that just to change it. But all of Act 2 is 100% different, and I'm really glad. I'm really glad for this, because the only thing I liked from Act 2 was like a really minor half-page chase scene where the characters are going through an abandoned temple, and they had Sub-Zero going from room to room. He's like smashing through doors, coming at them as they're trying to escape this temple. It sounds really cool, but in the grand schemes of everything they're trying to do in that moment, it really didn't work, and I hated where it led to next, which was the majority of Act 2 was this giant training montage, and they had this, forget what the city.
Yes, they say Barak. Yes, he is name dropped, but in the actual movie, he is not mentioned as Baraka, but So if they want to bring Baraka back for like an MK2 story in the next movie, they can easily do it. It doesn't matter. I don't think anybody would be bothered by Baraka coming back or Baraka being in the next Mortal Kombat Legends movie. So it's okay.
In the universe, and they had all these different gates, and these gates would lead to
The
other
Nexus?
worlds. Yes, yeah, maybe that's what it was called. But it was really dumb. It really was. It was it kind of felt like a tailgater party. Like they had like this town, and there's like a merchant selling like replica Katana fans, and
This sounds like Jin from Conquest.
it's basically the city from Conquest. But it wasn't done well. It really wasn't. But there was one good scene. There was one good scene cut.
They're talking about the 2016 version of the script. He's just talking about what was in a previous draft of the movie. By the way, the 2016, I don't think I've read it, but I've read like the cliff notes because that was the one that's been actually leaked. Fucking awful. Awful. I think he even says it. Like he does not like the 2016 script. It's fucking bad.
And I was really upset that they cut this. I was like, man, why can't you just take this and put it somewhere else? I hated the city. I hated the training sequences that they did because they had an original character called, I don't know, the Overlord. It was called the Overlord. And he essentially I imagine he looked like Shang Tsung, and he was the head trainer, and his job was literally just sitting up in a chair and just going fight.
They were gonna have a fucking announcer as the character. Literally, like now it's apparently that's cut, but it just goes to show you what their fucking process, what their creative process were. They were gonna have a fucking character, like the announcer as their own fucking character. Thank you so much, Rio, for following. I appreciate it. God damn it, Carpet Fire, what's going on, dude?
Fight. And like it was like someone just said, there's always a guy that says fight. Maybe we could just make him a character, and they put him into like this role, and it was really stupid because he was basically taking up a lot of the role that Raiden was, and I'm glad that they cut the Overlord and they took not Raiden saying fight, but taking some of the excess dialogue and the general tone that character was supposed to have and giving it more to Raiden.
We're not getting the fight guy.
No, unless Greg Russo is like, you know what this movie's missing? We're missing the Overlord. We need that guy that just keeps saying fight over and over. But no, there was a really cool scene between the three main characters, Sonya, Cole, and Kano, and they're in this town. And
Jade is not in the movie.
And basically, Kano wants to go get a beer. He's like, I'm parched. I'm getting drunk. And by the way, he plays the comic relief, but he's not obnoxious. Like, he really does say really funny things because it's just the way his character's built. Like, he feels like Kano, and you're just laughing.
Yeah, guys, I'm so looking forward to seeing the person who says fight in the games.
Laughing at everything he says.
Now, you've mentioned this on online before. Kano is actually not necessarily a villain in this movie. Could you elaborate a little more? Is he a actual hero or more of an anti-hero that's kind of stuck with these people?
I would say anti-hero. And to be fair, he was an anti-hero in the first Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
So
yeah, okay, I will. Another thing I would give credit is that Kano is not like a villain in this movie, but he's not like a good person. But I think, he said, to be fair, he kind of was like that in the first game. In the first game, the reason why he was in the tournament is because he wanted to bring money. The Black Dragon was kind of like a dying kind of clan. Like, he wanted to bring more stuff. He wanted to compete a little bit more. He kind of he fought just so he can the Black Dragon could be relevant again, and so he can bring he can fund the stuff from his clan, and that's okay. And it seems like that's what they're going to be doing similarly in this movie, and I appreciate that. That I will give credit to.
So you were saying earlier, Sub-Zero, they had that scene that was cut from the script where Sub-Zero was chasing the protagonist throughout the movie. I think you've also mentioned online, Sub-Zero is actually not necessarily a good guy in the script. Is the character himself, is he treated, just as a throwaway bad guy character, or do they give him any kind of context in this at all?
Context in what way? Like
any kind of development?
He focused really as a character.
Yeah, do you actually see who he is as a character?
Not in the drafts I read, but
okay.
I will say that compared to the 95 movie, which was the same way, he probably has 2, maybe 3 times as much screen time, maybe even more. I mean, there's a couple very major scenes.
I don't really mind that. I don't really mind Bihan's story not really being told as much and him not getting that much character development or anything, because Bihan as Sub-Zero was never the Sub-Zero story which we ever should be following, and we never have in Mortal Kombat. It's always been Kuai Liang. So that's why I didn't mind it as much as people did in Scorpion's Revenge, when we didn't really know much about Bihan and we didn't really know much about Sub-Zero in MK Scorpion's Revenge. I do want them to establish the rivalry between Bihan and Hanzo Asashi. Thank you so much, Jordan Gooden, for following. I appreciate it. I do want them to establish that at the very least. But the biggest development we've ever gotten from Bihan as Sub-Zero is Mortal Kombat Mythologies. We have to accept the fact that that is never going to happen. We are never going to see that story adapted in any Mortal Kombat media ever again. I know it sounds dumb. I know, yeah, it is dumb. I know it sounds unfortunate. I know it sounds sad. I know it sounds like something we don't want to hear. But we have to accept the fact that we just are not going to see Mythologies ever retold, revisited, or whatever. We may get bits and pieces here and there. We're definitely never gonna get the Bihan story that we got from Mythologies. It's sad. It's a sad reality, but it's okay, because I remember the Sub-Zero that we mainly followed throughout the games is Kuai Liang. We know Sub-Zero as Kuai Liang. We don't know him as Bihan. Yes, we know that Bihan was Sub-Zero, but we don't know Kuai Liang. We mainly know Kuai Liang as Sub-Zero. So him not getting that much screen time or that much character development in this game, in this movie, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Like, I know some people are gonna give him shit for this. This is not. It's not gonna bother me as much as I still don't like this MK movie, as from the way it sounds. That I'm okay with.
Scenes that he's in, and he does some really
Thank
cool
you,
stuff in
Yadman,
this
for the
movie.
follow-up, by the way.
Like, I was reading the script and just going, oh my god, like that is awesome. That's what I want to see Sub-Zero do.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
there's a good example of this. I like calling it like the
I don't think I would mind a 5-hour movie. I'll take a TV show.
Boba Fett effect, which is where you have a character where they don't have a lot of development. They just look really cool and they have a menacing presence to it. And it's like the Boba Fett effect. You know, Boba Fett wasn't on screen a lot in the original Star Wars movies, but he's a very popular character, and it's because he did really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt the Scorpion and Sub-Zero were in the original 95 movie, is they weren't constantly on screen chatting with the other characters, but when they show up, like when
Welcome back,
Scorpion's
Landon.
like gazing at Johnny Cage, like that is cool. Like he feels cool. He feels threatened,
Dimitri
menacing.
Vegas playing
So I really
Sub-Zero.
like that. And they kind of have the same
Yes.
thing with Sub-Zero, where he doesn't talk, but he looks really cool, and you're gonna feel proud to be a Sub-Zero fan. Like if you love Sub-Zero,
See, Sub-Zero not talking, that's okay, but it's okay, because it's kind of in line with Bihan a little bit. Bihan is the type to not even fucking care. Bihan has no feelings. Bihan is not a good person. Bihan is there to just get the job done. That's it. But he really just kind of cares about himself. So he doesn't really need to talk. And that's okay, but you got to be careful with that.
feel really happy with how they do his character, because
That's great.
he is terrifying in this.
In the 95 movie, they had a throwaway line saying that Sub-Zero and Scorpions were deadliest of enemies, but they were slave under Shang Tsung's control. Is there any kind of throwaway lines in there to kind of explain why Scorpion and Sub-Zero are antagonists in this movie?
Or is that relationship even sort of focused on at all or mentioned?
Yeah.
Yes. There is one or two throwaway lines that set up what could possibly be explained in a sequel, but
Oh,
they
that's
do. You know, the origins are different. I'm not going to lie about that.
Oh, really?
They have different origins. They have different.
Look, changes are good when the changes are good, but why would anyone want to change? Thank you so much, Beast Unleashed TV. Why would anyone want to change those stories of Bihan and Scorpion? Why would anyone want to change? Is there anything? Can anybody tell me what's wrong with those two characters' backstories? It doesn't sound as offensive as I think it's going to sound. I forgot what he said because I watched this podcast already, but I just want you guys to listen to it. But why? Why are you changing a story that's so good already? Like, those characters, the reason why they're one of the reasons why they're popular is because they have really good stories.
different, kind of
I
a
don't know.
different backstory, at least in the 2018 draft. So everyone listening to this, please do not go harass Greg Russo that he's ruining Mortal Kombat, because
Yeah.
I don't know how much
Don't
he's
be
actually
harassing
rewritten
anyone.
since then.
Mhm.
I did plan on, once the movie comes out, I would love to actually come back on and actually, like, I can actually show you the screenplays and we can go through it and actually
Oh, we'd love
Yeah,
it.
that would
Yeah.
be awesome.
we could talk about that, because it's really hard right now without giving certain things away. But
Right.
at the same time, it always comes down to how you always see people on message boards and they'll say something and it's bullshit. And that's always what I fear, is because I'm coming out and going, yeah, Colt Turner's the main character. It's Scorpion and Sub-Zero were barely in it, and there's no Johnny Cage, and people are like, what? Like eventually it starts sounding like really weird. Like when they read that cast breakdown a couple years ago, it's like Liu Kang, fire throwing ninja. People are like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I remember
No way,
that.
this is
I
real.
remember
It's
that.
like, yeah, it's real.
I remember when Liu Kang was described as a fucking ninja, and that Raiden was a 14-year-old kid. It was so bad, but apparently he addresses the reason why those descriptions of the characters, why it sounded so terrible, was because one of the producers or somebody who wrote those descriptions literally didn't know anything about the characters, and he just read them, but that's not actually how they are in the movie. So thankfully,
It's just some guy who never played the games wrote those paragraphs. But yeah,
Liu Kang fire throwing ninja is literally just Scorpion.
So you mentioned Johnny Cage is not in the movie. Do they explain that at all?
his presence or lack thereof is explained, and you will at least know that he exists in this universe, because he
Yeah.
is a movie
that's good.
star. He is a movie star.
here's if you guys don't want to know spoilers, mute this part of the stream, or if you're watching this on YouTube, mute this part. It's not going to be too big. But I'll wave my hands and say that it's free to go. So here's what I know about Johnny Cage in the Mortal Kombat movie. And this is coming from, I'm not going to name who it is, but sometime last year, I met somebody who was an extra on the actual Mortal Kombat movie. He was on set in the Mortal Kombat movie. He was an extra. And he said that Johnny Cage there's something about Johnny Cage in this movie that he has a cameo, or his scene is supposed to kind of be like a setup to the next movie. Like he's gonna be in the next movie. It's gonna be like those MCU, like this character appears in the end credits. I don't know if it's gonna be an end credit scene or it's just gonna be at the end of the movie, but Johnny Cage's presence is in this movie. He is mentioned. I don't know if there's a cameo, but there's definitely a setup to the next movie with this character. Like he's gonna be in the next movie or something. That's all I know. That's all I fucking know. All right. Spoiler done. Alrighty.
He's very
Okay,
well
I'm mute
known
now.
throughout the world, so they do acknowledge that he exists. And
Okay.
I won't say anything about the ending,
Uh-huh.
because
there it is.
it could possibly be rewritten. But
Oh,
there
shit.
was more
I
more
just-
than one. What do they call now? Like the cliffhanger teases that they do, the after
Mhm.
credits type stuff.
Post credit scene.
Yeah.
They had a few of them lined up to kind of get you really amped up for that sequel.
Okay.
So there's
This
a
could be an interesting movie without Johnny Cage. Somewhat, at
Well,
least.
another reason for that is because they had the Kano character, and they just used him as the comedy relief rather than Johnny Cage, who's traditionally the comedy relief.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see that happen in movies. If you think about Star Wars: The Force Awakens, the reason why Poe Dameron wasn't in the movie much is because he was literally the same character as Han Solo.
Yeah.
So just to have two Han Solos in a movie, that would not have worked out well. It's
I just find it so weird.
I can understand that. So, like, he's thinking that maybe the reason why Johnny Cage is not in this movie is because we already have a comedy relief character, and that is Kano. Now, Kano being a comedy relief character isn't a bad idea. He can be funny, but just because, it just depends on how you write the character. And if you wrote him to be a comedy relief character, you kind of wrote yourself into a corner, because if you're fearing of two comedy relief characters being too much, you shouldn't have had Kano be the comedy relief. Kano is funny, yes, but he's not always cracking jokes. He's funny. His presence is a little bit like, it's kind of like, the lovable asshole kind of person. But Johnny Cage is the comedy character. You could have written Kano that way. Kano could have still been funny. He didn't have to be the comedy relief. And again, Johnny Cage, the way Cole Turner's character is being described, he gets sucked into the world of Mortal Kombat. He lost custody of his daughter. He's still trying to make a living doing boxing, and he's a washed-up boxer, and he divorced his wife. You can literally... That can literally be Johnny Cage. And Cole Turner gets sucked into the world of Mortal Kombat. That can literally be Johnny Cage because Johnny Cage is that character. I've said this already. Johnny Cage is that character. He is the type of character to be sucked into the world of Mortal Kombat. Johnny Cage is the type of character that we're supposed to relate to because he's the most human and he's the most, like, you know, he's the most Hollywood, like, he's the real world character of Mortal Kombat. He always was. Like, I don't know.
Hearing, like, obviously this is just an individual thing. I just find it so weird to see how, like...
Well, see, Louis Tan didn't have to be playing Johnny Cage. Like, I'm not suggesting that Louis Tan would have been playing Johnny Cage. I'm just suggesting that Cole Turner's character in this movie easily could have been Johnny Cage.
Hollywood scripts, they have to have...
I wouldn't have had Johnny Cage as the if I were to make a Mortal Kombat, if I were to do this, I wouldn't have him as the main star of the movie, but I wouldn't hate the idea. I would understand why they would do it because he's the easiest character to do the fish out of water story and to have this character be our introduction to the Mortal Kombat universe, because that is literally the purpose of Cole Turner's character, is for casual audiences to introduce us to the Mortal Kombat world. But again, you do that with Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage is already that character.
So you mentioned before that the characters actually have their superpowers or their super moves, like Liu Kang can shoot fireballs and things like that. Does Cole Turner happen to have anything like that too, to make him more unique or more special than a regular human?
Yes. I won't go into it because that's part of the story arc. Because
I know what it is.
I will say is that the
I know
Liu
what
Kang
it is.
and Kung Lao are the veteran fighters for Earthrealm. They have been training their entire lives. So in fact, Kung Lao is at one point mentioned that he is the world's best fighter. It's like he is Earthrealm's greatest fighter.
So they're going with arrogant Kung Lao then?
Well, not really. Kung Lao doesn't have a single line of dialogue.
Oh.
Kung Lao is a mute in this movie. I think I knew that, but there you guys have it. Like, he is a mute. Kung Lao is a mute in this movie. Look, bro. I actually understand why they chose to do mute Kung Lao. Because Kung Lao used to kind of be, in the original games, he kind of actually used to have actually really no personality. He kind of always used to have like the straight face and the kind of Lone Ranger vibes. He was never a mute in the original games, but he definitely at a point in time, he definitely had no personality. He was kind of like the Lone Ranger kind of character, like the one who always has a straight face, the one who's kind of always posing, the one who's always has the just emotionless face, kind of a little bit. But you're having Liu Kang and Kung Lao in the same movie. There's not going to be the brotherly banter that you get. That's going to be a huge missed opportunity. That's something that I am not happy to know. Again, this is a 2018 script. They could give just some lines of dialogues to Kung Lao. But Kung Lao being a mute in this movie, I don't think that sounds appealing to everyone. I actually understand why they did it. But ask me, guys, does that sound appealing to you? Be honest. It's okay. And it's okay if you say yes. But does that sound appealing to you? To me, it doesn't. Because if you're going to have Liu Kang and Kung Lao in the same movie, I think you're just wasting the missed opportunity to give us the Shaolin Monks brothers, the Shaolin brothers. You're giving your missed opportunity.
We're gonna train you so that you can go through it, and then you have your special moves, whatever is unique to you. So I like that.
I hope. This is what I know. Kind of. Well, it's not real. It's spoilers from the 2016 script, and that is he said it was completely rewritten. So I don't think this is spoilers. I don't think this is spoilers. But here's what has been known for those who have seen the 2016 script. apparently, and again, if just in case you guys want to, and again, I don't know if I hope what he's talking about is not true and it's something else, and I'll talk about that. But just in case you guys don't want to get spoiled, mute this part of the stream, and I will wave my hands to let you know that the spoilers are done. Okay, so in the 2016 script, the logic as to why the Mortal Kombat characters can use their powers is due to a fucking talisman, a fucking artifact or an amulet, whatever it is. It was like a talisman of some kind. So as long as you have that, you can use your fucking powers. What the fuck? And in the 2016 script, this is completely scrapped, by the way, Cole Turner turns into Scorpion. He talks about it. Cole Turner turns into a fucking Scorpion, and because of the fucking amulet, because of the talisman. What the hell? So Liu Kang, because he can shoot fireballs, doesn't come from inner chi. He has a fucking talisman. The reason why Sub-Zero has ice powers doesn't come from the fact that he's a cryomancer. He has a fucking talisman. What the fuck? Now, what he's saying right here is scaring me because it sounds like it could, that story part, that plot point, or that little plot device, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that part of the 2016 script is still in the 2018 one. And the reason why Liu Kang can use these chi powers, or these fire powers, is because he has a fucking amulet of some kind, or he has a talisman of some kind. What the hell? Like, and I just don't know why. Like, why would you do that? You can literally just, you don't even have to explain why he can use fucking fire powers. It's a fucking fantasy, goddamn. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy movie, for the love of God. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to explain why these characters can use powers. And just in case you want to, just say Sub-Zero's a cryomancer. Liu Kang uses chi powers. Raiden's the god of thunder. Now, I don't know if Raiden is the one who uses one, but definitely I remember that Cole Turner gets the reason why he can use powers is because of a talisman, and he turns into fucking Scorpion. Now that's completely script. That's completely scrapped, thankfully. But it sounds like that might be happening. That might still be in this current script, and I don't like it at all. I do not like it. You don't need to explain why these characters can use powers. Anyways, spoilers done. Spoilers done. Spoilers done. Spoilers done. You can unmute now.
You mentioned that Cole was doing some training for his powers along with other characters that they were bringing in. Does that mean that there are multiple other original characters along with Cole?
No. I was actually referring to Sonya and Kano.
Ah, okay. All right.
Yeah, because you follow, like, it's essentially like an expanded cast as the movie goes along. Like, it starts with Cole, and then you'll get, the next wave of characters, and then the next, and then it finally leads into the battle. So it's a journey. There's a full journey to get to where they need to go, and at certain points along the way is where, it's natural, though. It's not like he's, like, walking down the road and just sees, like, Liu Kang sitting there reading a newspaper while eating a bagel. I kind of felt like maybe they forced Greg Russo to do the movie this way, so as not to coincide with basically having the exact same plot as Enter the Dragon, which they are trying to do a remake of.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was that's owned by Warner Bros.
So he's trying to say that the reason why they're probably not going to be doing it's confirmed they're not going to be doing the tournament, but apparently the reason why it looks like they're not doing like the tournament structure from MK1 is because Warner Brothers is also trying to do a remake of Enter the Dragon. And if you know Enter the Dragon and Mortal Kombat almost have the same plot, so they don't want to release kind of the same movie. First of all, that movie's never going to happen. Second of all, that movie is almost fucking unfilmable with how the stereotypes, like with how fucking Zoomers consider Twitter Zoomers consider go on the fucking stereotypes. Like, I think Lo Pan or someone is literally unfilmable in today's age. You cannot do the same reason they keep talking about. Oh, we're gonna remake Big Trouble in Little China. You cannot fucking make this movie. You cannot make those movies without the fucking Zoomer Twitter politics online. You cannot do that. They're literally unfilmable. So I just don't. That movie's just not gonna happen, anyways. Yeah.
Others. So I could see how Warner Brothers is like, yeah, we want Enter the Dragon to have the classic tournament formula for a movie, so instead we need you to do it like this. So again, this is where there's the potential for studio politics to negatively impact a film, because I think personally, everyone probably wants to see the classic tournament formula for a movie that's supposed to adapt the first game. And then you also have producers probably coming in knowing nothing about the games and saying, hey, could you add in this character over here? He just looks really cool, and that's the kind of issues that you run into with producers that think they know best. But in overall, I think they did a really good job with it.
So speaking of some of these other characters, we know that we have Natara, of course, coming in, and she's going to be played by a woman who's mostly known as being a stunt double and doing various stunts throughout movies. And there's also been talks of other characters coming in, like, of course, Reiko, Rain, Draman, and some of these people who their involvement in the script has kind of been leaked throughout all this. My question is, are these characters more so just going to be throwaway monsters that are just kind of inserted for fighting, or do they have any kind of lore around them, or are they just going to be how Sub-Zero and Scorpion were, where they're these menacing characters that come in for individual fights?
And he asks with specific focus on Rain.
Or even Ermac too. But yeah, like, is Rain even still in this script?
No, he's at least in
Rip Rain.
He was actually the fight scene that was cut.
No, every time.
But no, it made sense though.
Rain
Honestly,
gets fucking cut again.
Because the 2016 version is the only version I know of that had Rain in. He may have existed prior, but for whatever reason, they decided to go with him where he just looks like liquid, like he's just like water. The fight scene was a really cool idea. The fight scene was a really cool idea. Yeah, he was described as like shifting water wearing armor, that kind of like description.
Okay,
that doesn't
glad he's not in it.
That's glad. Apparently, he was just gonna be like a water figure with armor on it. Nah. I'm glad he's.
Yeah, there's a problem where I think they picked a lot
Rain.
of like the most unique and monstrous looking characters in order to make Outworld seem like it's a very demonic place. Like these are the villains because they have like 4 arms and wings, and they're not even human.
That's actually one question I wanted to ask you, because, well, we've mentioned that Nitara is confirmed, and then I'm not sure if you just confirmed whether or not Draman was still in or removed, but it's weird that they're picking characters like this to get that point across when they're not actually from Outworld.
And that again goes down to where they shift around
Apparently, Draman is from Outworld, Nitara's from Outworld, and some of the other characters, like Reiko's from Outworld. I don't know,
mythology of the games in order to get the kind of visual that they want to do. There's another character, which I actually completely forgot about, even though I was thinking about him earlier today. There is a certain character, I'm not gonna mention who, but he's been leaked before, but I'm not gonna actually say his name. He is gonna be completely different than how he was in the games. Allegiance, visually I think he's gonna look the same, but his purpose is to he's mentioned as being similar to another movie character, and it's done this way because as soon as they said it, I'm like, okay, now I understand why they want this character in there. And that's when I first connected that they were doing all this to try and give each villain, each enemy combatant their own unique look.
Okay, definitely something to think about.
Along that same line, are Shang Tsung and Goro?
I think he's talking about
Reptile. And are
they
kind of having their same roles as in the original storyline, where they're representatives of the tournament, or are they again just going to kind of be thrown away as this is the character that you're fighting in this scene?
I won't confirm anything about Goro, but as for Shang Tsung, because the 95 movie more or less took place in like one location, they were really able to give Shang Tsung a lot of screen time. With this script, the 2016 version, Shang Tsung was barely in it. In fact, I was like,
this is 2016
like,
version.
What are they even going to do with this
version.
character? How can you have an actor try and make his own thing when he's really only in it for like maybe 10 minutes?
Yeah.
So part of the rewrites with 2018 was to kind of, and again, this was part of the reason why they gutted the entire second act, was to help create a new pacing for the film, but also make room for expanded roles of characters. I will say that Jax was originally barely in the 2016 draft. In fact, I was very disappointed with how little he was in it. He's not my favorite character, but I liked what they were doing with him in the script. So from a writing point of view, I was like, oh yeah, I'm liking this character. And then he's not in it the rest of the movie. This one, he's actually a big role. And with Shang Tsung, they've expanded his role, so he has more of a presence in this. I don't think it's as much as maybe Shang Tsung in 95, but they've at least given Shin Han more of an opportunity to try and, do his own thing. So hopefully he's not being compared to Kari Haruki Tagawa, which I think is going to happen regardless, but at least they're giving him more material. Otherwise, I think it would end up like the first Legacy series where Shang Tsung was very, very little, had very little presence, and he looked very weak as an actor compared to Cary Tagawa, because you didn't have that presence of him woven throughout that series.
I feel like Shin Han is a very good choice, though. So I'm hoping that they don't as you said, they're probably giving him more and everything. But it would be a shame to see him.
The way their voices are freaking fast. I have to do it just so we don't have to spend
his character.
So much time
his lines don't come out as corny. The 2016 draft, he was evil for evil's sake, and I don't know, it felt like very cringy. And then with the rewrites for 2018, they were able to give him more screen time. They actually explained why they want to take over Earthrealm, and it's interesting. I was like, okay, it wasn't quite there of making him relatable. I feel like the way Cary Tagawa used to explain Shang Tsung in interviews about, he's like, I was human and I got seduced by the power, and I could have been Liu Kang, but I chose a different path. That kind of approach to the character. This version isn't that deep as what Cary Tagawa was trying to explain Shang Tsung to reporters during interviews.
Yeah,
but it's getting there. So I'm hoping that was an area that Greg Russo in the January draft, and maybe even throughout the production, was like, hey,
it's too fast. No, it's not. It's not fast enough.
The part of the process of making a film is constantly evolving, and because you have input from the director, which was probably the January rewrites. So you had director, he got hired and was like, hey, I have
fast. No, it's not
I'd
fast
like to try
enough.
to work these into the movie. Maybe this doesn't work for the filming, so we change the scene and replace it with that. So you'll have his input, and then you have the producer's input, and then you'll have the costume designers probably come up with really cool ideas, and then you'll have the special effects teams come up with really cool ideas, and the set designers will be like, hey, we really love the Pit 2, but we want to throw in these unique ideas. We're going to bring in this really cool concept that we saw once in a piece of artwork, and we're going to add that, and that's how you get this entire team coming together to make a movie. So I'm hoping that maybe Shin Han is like, hey, I have some ideas for this character. I want to try and work this into the story if we can. Hopefully that entire word salad helps.
I did want to ask, you mentioned earlier about Kano. Now, considering Kano's apparent role, is he not Black Dragon? I mean, have we confirmed Cabal is in the script? And if so, what is happening with the Black Dragon?
In the drafts I read, they didn't have any of the organizations from the game.
Okay.
And that means no special forces or anything like that either.
They do kind of mention special forces, but from what I gathered was Sonya is essentially AWOL, so you don't get to see her with teams of special forces agents. The one thing that they did do that I was really happy about was in the 2016 draft, they made Jax a SWAT team member. So it's kind of like that
still in the
leftover
script. I think that's still in the script.
When Kevin Tantrin, because he had this obsession with making them all cops rather than keeping with the special forces element.
Mall cop
so
Jax.
They kind of brought that back, this idea of military for those characters. And Kano is a mercenary. He's done some really shady things, and he even lists different stuff. He does assassinations, gun running. He does all this different nefarious black market stuff. But they don't mention that he's a part of any specific criminal organization.
Okay, and does this lack of factions relate to the Lin Kuei and Shiryu as well?
They are not mentioned in the script.
Interesting.
Come on, man. They don't mention that Kano is from the Black Dragon. Thankfully, I think he'll say it. Thankfully, they don't replace it with an alternative backstory with those characters, but they do not mention that the Shiryu or the Lin Kuei exists in this movie. Or the Black Dragon.
They weren't mentioned in any of the Threshold Entertainment movies either.
That's true. Mm-hmm. That's true. What he says is
at
true.
times, it almost feels like they're trying to adapt. It's almost like a remake of the first movie. When you hear about some of the changes that they did in the first movie wasn't accurate to the games, and then it'll be it's almost like they decided to remake the first movie.
With CC Stringer playing Melina, nobody's able to.
Here we go, guys. Here we go. You guys were some of you guys were asking about Melina. Here it is.
Really confirm if Katana is actually going to be in this movie. Do we see Katana at all? Is she played by CC Stringer, or is that another one of these background characters that we're not really going to experience?
No, she's a background character. And again, it came down to Greg Russo actually explained it that he could only do so many characters in a movie and actually be able to give them justice. And while I don't feel like they should have put Melina in this without Katana.
Melina is a background character. She's a throwaway character in this movie. Poor Cece. Oh, man. Why would you do that to Melina? Why would you do that?
I feel like all of that should have been saved for a sequel, because that's when you bring in Shao Kahn, you bring in Katana and Melina, and then you can actually address more of the history about.
Now you're missing the opportunity to do the sister storyline with Shao Kahn. When you bring in Shao Kahn, you have perfect room to do the growing up as sisters, growing up as the twins story that was in the original games. Now that's completely thrown out of the water. And they're probably going to have a different actress to play Katana as well, because they're twins in the original in the games. We know that. So CC Stringer should be playing Katana, but it looks like Katana's not in the movie. Second, if they do a sequel, which they probably won't, this movie's not going to be successful. I don't think so. But if they do Katana, she's not going to be played by CC Stringer, so it's not going. I mean, it's not going to be like it's going to be way different. It's not going to be accurate to the characters. So, God damn it. God damn it.
Yeah. But it was still really cool to see Melina in this and watch her fight. But I was like, yeah, if they had kind of put in Katana and tried to get into that, I think it would have really started putting pressure on the runtime to try and do it
justice. That's why you don't bring in Melina or Katana. At least have Katana. You can have Katana in an MK1 movie. You can do that. But Melina and just don't bring those characters in. Like, I don't know why. Anyways,
this because even the two movies that they did barely even covered anything. In fact, the Annihilation didn't even cover that they were sisters.
Yeah, that's true.
No, it's just a mud fight.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, she's just going to be background then, but I'm assuming that means her absence is sort of explained in a way.
Yeah, well, I mean, kind of. It just depends on what they want to go with, because there was two different things in the scripts. But I just kind of get the idea that she's probably with her adopted father. Being his bodyguard or whatever. Like that would be my guess, is that she's probably just back in Outworld serving under Shao Kahn. Or maybe they'll try and, go a different route. With the way this movie is, there's any possibilities for where they'll go with the sequel. In fact, looking at it, the more I read it, the more I was very open with them, like for a sequel, not trying to adapt Mortal Kombat 2. They'd be like, just go out there in your own direction, because at the at the end of the movie, when you finish reading it, if for everyone else listening, when you finish watching it, you're at least gonna, there's a lot of stuff that's not accurate to the games, but I don't think you're ever gonna walk away from this and say like
a lot of things that are inaccurate. No, it's okay. Inaccuracies happen all the time with adaptations. We know this. We know this for sure. But do we really want to run that risk, guys? Do we really want to run that risk?
You're a fan of Kano. Yeah, he's not Black Dragon, but you're going to walk away from the movie going, yeah, that's completely the reason why I love Kano. And same thing with Sub-Zero, like I mentioned before, and Liu Kang and Kung Lao. Like I wasn't much of a Kung Lao fan. This made me a Kung Lao fan.
Awesome. Basically, you mentioned a while back that you
sounds
were
good,
quite disappointed with what's happened to Scorpion. Is it anything specific that you can say about that?
That was based on the 2016 draft, which they've completely done away with. Scorpion wasn't actually a character in the 2016 version. Yeah. Now I'm not going to elaborate on what they did with the 2018 version. I'm not going to talk about how much he's in the script, how he connects into the story. I want to let all that be a surprise. But
I think he already mentioned though that Scorpion was barely in the movie. Apparently, that Scorpion was barely in the movie. I think he mentioned that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he mentioned that Scorpion and Sub-Zero aren't in the movie that much, and they don't have much to their story as characters.
Thing that probably caused the greatest amount of hatred for this movie is I did mention about how they basically made Cole Turner turn into Scorpion.
Thank you, Losty Grandmaster.
In the originals.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
in
for
2016. The climax was when he gets his powers. I'm trying to think of a way to essentially get you to feel the way I did by describing how.
That's what you said when you did it.
Essentially, there's a character. One of the enemies is attacking someone, and
it's
Cole
Goro.
is pleading with his arm outstretched, no, please don't kill them. And they show the enemy, and then suddenly this spear comes through his chest. And then they cut back to Cole, and he's back on his feet, and he has it's coming out of his wrist. And he's just and then of course they did the get over here. And I was like,
Cole Turner was gonna be the one who said get over here, and he was gonna turn into Scorpion. What the thing was, I knew what it was. So this is cut completely, thankfully. But it just goes to show you what their mindset was to making this movie. So apparently, Goro was going to kill Cole Turner's daughter or something, and Cole Turner is being held off somewhere, and he's saying no, he wants to save. It's one of those close up intense moments in a movie where something is about to happen to one of the good guys' friends or family members, and it was Goro who was about to kill. Oh my god, this sounds so stupid. So Goro was about to kill Cole Turner's daughter, and Cole Turner saying no, and then as soon as Goro's about to make the final blow, Cole Turner, the spear comes through, just like Scorpion's Revenge. It's actually very scary how this happened. Just like Scorpion's Revenge, goes through fucking Goro's chest or something like that, cuts back to Cole Turner, and I think he turns into Scorpion, like the flames are all on him, and he says, "Get over here!" Oh my god, dude! Like, jeez, just like Scorpion's Revenge, literally, and it was good. Oh my god, bro, that was their fucking mindset in making the movie back in 2016. Now, thankfully, again, that is cut out, but it just goes to show what their mindset was. I understand, like, now I can kind of understand a little bit. I mean, I already knew about it, but hearing somebody else's perspective on the movie, I can understand why some changes were made and understand why some of the characters are the way they are in the movie. I still don't like it. Like Kung Lao being a mute character, that I can understand because he kind of didn't really have a personality in the original games. But again, the reason why I don't really like it is because Liu Kang and Kung Lao are in the same movie, and you're just going to have a missed opportunity with the brotherly love, with the Shaolin monk brother love. You know, or the banter that goes back and forth, the chemistry between the two characters. You can't have chemistry with a character that just doesn't talk. Cole Turner, again, I can't get around Mortal Kombat, the main character of this movie, being some no-name original character. I just don't get it. I don't get it because his story can literally be applied with just very, very minor changes, can literally be applied to Johnny Cage. And this could be a Johnny Cage movie, or at least a fish out of water Johnny Cage is in this MK universe, and he is the character that brings the audience into the world of Mortal Kombat. Because again, that's what Cole Turner's character is supposed to do, is for the audience to relate to the world. But again, I've said this in different videos and in this stream, you can do this with Johnny Cage. It doesn't matter whether or not this is a Mortal Kombat character or not. If the character is well written, and if you care about the character, again, if the character is well written, it doesn't matter whether or not it's an original character or it's a Mortal Kombat character. The audience will follow, the audience will like, the audience will understand. I don't really understand, but the reason to address the reasoning as to, thank you for the good content. Thank you so much for the 540 bits. Thank you. I appreciate it. To address one of the possible reasonings as to why Johnny Cage is not in the movie is because we already have a comedy relief character with Kano. Well, you can just rewrite Kano as to where he's not that funny. Or, I mean, he's funny, but he's not the comedy relief. Or somebody mentioned in the chat, I don't know who it was, but thank you, shout outs to you who was in the chat. Somebody mentioned Johnny Cage can have the light humor, Kano can have the dark humor. It's perfectly balanced, as all things should be. I don't like it because it sounds like Melina is going to be a background character, or not a background character, but a character that's comes and goes. A character that comes in, oh hey, look, I'm Melina, I'm gonna do some cool things, I'm gonna do some cool fights, I'm gonna look visually cool, I'm gonna get killed off. I did read in the script that apparently Melina does die. Apparently she does not live through the script. I don't know if that was 2016 or 2018, but it does sound like from when he was describing, because he was describing the 2018 version, that Melina is not a character that's going to survive this movie. And I don't like that, because now you missed the opportunity to do the Katana and Melina thing. One of the reasons why I'm not really afraid that this movie will come out in theaters and possibly damage the look of Mortal Kombat is because I don't think theaters will maybe exist, or they will be. I think theaters are going to be very, very different from how they are today, or how we used to think of them. Because a movie insider, and I'm a movie guy, I keep up with the news and stuff. It looks like theaters may be closed until mid-2021. This movie is supposed to come out when 2021 starts. If movie theaters are closed until then, movie theaters will not exist. So it's very, very possible that this movie goes straight to direct-to-video, like VOD, like it goes on a streaming service, like HBO Max or something, which is a Warner Brothers streaming service. And it's very possible they may happen because there are reports out there that they are considering putting Wonder Woman 1984 on HBO Max. I think what they have to do is lower the price of HBO Max and do something just because I think HBO Max is a little bit too expensive. I'm not paying for HBO Max because it's pretty expensive. So there is talk that maybe Wonder Woman goes on HBO Max and not in theaters, just because they need to get these movies out there. They're already working on these DC movies. You can only delay and you can only push back these movies so many times to a point where you just where they're all just crumbled in one little group, and you can't really release them in a way that you really wanted it to, and you can't really give out you can't really give that breath of fresh air. You can't have like fucking 6 DC movies in a year, because that's just going to be overwhelming and you're just going to get fatigue from that. If Wonder Woman 1984 does get on to HBO Max, it's very possible that, hey, why not Mortal Kombat go straight to streaming? It's proven to be a good straight to streaming thing to put on streaming, because Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge, although it's an animated movie and it does kind of belong on streaming, that is kind of a movie made for TV, not TV, but made for streaming. They will still consider it like, hey, if we can do a big blockbuster movie of Wonder Woman 1984 and put it on streaming and can be successful, what's to say Mortal Kombat is not going to be on there? So once it goes on there, I think that's going to be okay. I think that'll be okay, because it won't have the mass effect. It won't have mass effect. It won't have the big effect of a wide movie theater release and having many people's perceptions being tainted. Many people's Mortal Kombat perception being tainted by this movie, because this movie is really going to taint Mortal Kombat's reputation. But when you do it on streaming, most people are going to be MK fans who buy that, and I might actually watch it if it goes to streaming. Now, I'm not if it goes on streaming, because I'm already going to get HBO Max anyways because of the Snyder Cut. I am actually eventually going to get it, so if the news comes out around the time the Snyder Cut comes out, I'll just hold off on my HBO Max. I'll be like, okay, well, I'll hold on to this for a couple more runs until the Mortal Kombat movie comes in, and I'll check it out, and then I'll give you my review and everything. I don't think this movie's gonna see the light of day anyways. Mortal Kombat has had a huge history of just development hell. This is the closest we've ever got to like getting the Mortal Kombat movie released. This movie is supposed to come out in so we're in September, October, November, December, January, 4 months, and we still haven't gotten a trailer. Now, apparently we're supposed to be getting a trailer like within like 2 months or something, but 2 months and then 2 months left. 2 months and then 2 months left. You got the movie coming out. You don't release trailers for movies that are coming out in the next 2 months. You release trailers for a movie that's coming out in the next six months. Sometimes, in very rare cases, an entire year later. So, and yeah, they probably will hold back. Probably will hold back. But again, if they go forward with that Wonder Woman on HBO Max and it becomes successful, what's not to say that Mortal Kombat won't go on the same thing? And even if it was to be released in January, guys, remember, if you guys know anything about movies, January movies are where movies go to fucking die. So the studio doesn't even seem to have confidence in that movie. Name me one successful, really good January movie. There are none. Now, you could say maybe Bad Boys for Life, maybe, but that didn't do that good. I mean, it made enough to like for them to pay off what they spent, pay off the budget of the movie, but it wasn't anything good, or it wasn't anything to, oh my god, yay, there we go. It was nothing like that. So, yeah, there is no, again, there just no good January movies, and again, January movies are where movies go to die. So if they are going to stick with the same release, guys, they're going to release the trailer for the movie that comes out in the next 2 months. They're going to be like, all right, here's the trailer, then the movie's coming out. So there's not much time to really gather the hype. And when that happens, that usually does not spark confidence in your movie. Just like how, like, remember that Tom Holland movie with Daisy Ridley? No trailer is coming out for that. That movie was supposed to come out last year in December. I don't even know if that movie's out yet. But Jesus Christ, it's almost the same kind of situation here. And remember, they still have not talked any story details besides the synopsis. Besides the synopsis of the movie, which describes Cole Turner's character and his story. And they still have not officially announced that Louis Tan is Cole Turner's character. We're 4 months out from this movie. Do you really think that sparks any confidence in the studio? Or do you really think that shows any confidence from the studio? And do you really think you should have confidence in again? And again, if you want to watch the movie, that's fine. I'm not going to bash anyone who watches it, but you got to think objectively here. Is it really going to feel... Does it really sound like something that is good or great? I don't think so. And from what I hear, there are some things I like. Yes, there are some things that I like. I understand. And I will give credit to where credit is due. It does sound like Kano's going to be freaking awesome. It does sound like the fatalities are going to be cool. It does sound like the action scenes and the fight scenes are going to be cool. I think it's very possible that the characters, the costumes, the way the characters look, maybe they will look cool. And again, I've already give credit that I like the cast. I really like who's playing the characters. I really like who's playing Liu Kang. It does sound like there are some good things in there, but overall, the overall story is what really drives the movie, is what really defines the movie. And so far, it doesn't seem good. It doesn't seem good, at least to my liking. If you like it, you guys can go ahead and let me know in the chat, and if you're watching this on the stream, on YouTube, in the comments below. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the MK movie. Those are some of the new details that we knew. Not new details to me, but probably some new details to you. Big shout outs to the Realm Kast for doing this kind of podcast. It was a really good podcast. I really, really liked it. And yeah, remember, I will be on the Realm Kast. I will be on the Realm Kast pretty darn soon. Don't know what topic we're talking about. Don't know when I will be on there. We're still figuring that out. But once that happens, once I'm gonna be getting on the stream, I'll let you guys know. Or the podcast. I'll let you guys know.